Deconstructing a well-written story is one of the best ways to learn about storytelling. And as you can probably tell, we like Star Wars here. So today we're going to be looking at Visions Season 2, Episode 2, Screecher's Reach. If you haven't watched Visions, we highly suggest that you do, right after you watch this video. We will be spoiling the episode though, so consider yourselves warned. Visions is some of the best television Star Wars has put out, and we will be breaking down more episodes in the future. At the beginning of the story, Dal is an impulsive young girl with a dream of getting off the factory world she lives in. Sound familiar? However, this one does take a bit of a turn from that one. We're going to be talking about how the filmmakers crafted this story and put every essential element of a fulfilling story into this 12-minute masterpiece. We're going to be using the nutshell technique that Jill Chaimberlain lays out in her book, The Nutshell Technique, to show how they use every essential element of story and intertwine them together to tell a more fulfilling story. We start with a character. There are two things that Jill says a character needs in order to start a story: a flaw and a setup want. The flaw is something that a character must overcome in order to gain their ultimate victory. In this story, the first thing we see Dal doing is breaking a machine and walking out of the factory. This shows us her characterization of being impulsive, her flaw. The first words she says are, "I'm getting out of here." This is Dal's setup want. Jill describes the setup want as the thing the character wants in their first scene. So far, so good. The next thing that will happen in a story is the point of no return. This is the event where the protagonist gets their setup want. This event also brings the next essential element of story, which is the catch. The catch is something that the protagonist gets as a result of the point of no return, but it's something that they don't want. In this story, the point of no return is Dal leaving the factory with her three friends. But the catch that comes along with this journey is that it's not a short one. The reason you need a catch in your story is to test the protagonist's flaw. And we all know that when you do something impulsive, the last thing you want is time to think about it. So the catch of having time is the perfect test of Dal's flaw, being impulsive. The time starts to make her think that she might have made the wrong choice. Because of that, she asks her friend Bathan for reassurance.
What if you didn't have to go back to the workhouse, the farms, all of this? If you could just keep going, would you?
Dal, you've always wanted something more. And if you ever get the chance to find out what that is, take it. Don't look back.
The next major event in the story will be the crisis. This is the moment where the protagonist is at their lowest, which is the exact opposite of where the protagonist was in the setup want. In the story, Dal finds herself trapped with the ghost. Where she once had freedom, she is lost and in imminent danger. This is the point at which the character will either launch back up from rock bottom and succeed in their ultimate desires, or crash and burn. But let's be honest, this is a story, so the only way this is going is up. The next element of a story is the climactic choice. This is the centerpiece of the climax of the story and the protagonist's big decision to move away from their flaw and toward their strength. This is Dal's decision to kill the ghost. It is something that she takes the time to think about. She could have just left with a lightsaber and let the ghost die on its own. But she took a chance on escaping the world she was trapped in. Being deliberate in this decision was the first time she moved away from her flaw of being impulsive. The last event in a story is the final step. This is the protagonist's last significant scene in the story. It's their second move away from their flaw toward their strength, but different than in the climactic choice. Dal has to make the decision to leave the planet and her friends behind, to start a life among the stars. This goes against her flaw because everything in her wants to stay with her friends. But she listens to the advice of Bathan and with tears in her eyes, goes against her impulse and leaves them behind. This is where she finds her strength and lets go of her impulsiveness to be more deliberate and careful in her decisions.
She promised me another life, a way out of here. I had to try.
Make your choice.
Don't look back. Right?
This story has every essential element of a fulfilling story and shows why you need all of them. Because if you don't have one of these elements, the others will suffer. They rely on each other to tell a complete story. That's how Screecher's Reach uses the nutshell technique to tell its story.